Mr. Eastwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's actually very difficult to, as has already been said, to play any part in this debate and at the same time try and keep tensions reduced and keep things calm, because everybody has their own particular perspective on this issue, and there isn't just one issue. There's a number of different issues right across the north, and people feel all those issues and difficulties in different ways. But I will do my best to try and heed Mr. Elliott's advice, whatever about the content of his speech. His plea for calmness and tolerance, I think, is the right one. And we do need to acknowledge, as the Principal Deputy Speaker said, that what happens in here is heard out there, and we are in a very difficult time. Unfortunately, we come to this time of year every year, and it's difficult. A lot of the issues that have already been talked about, whatever people say, haven't just arrived on anybody's entry. They've been there for a long time. Parading is an historic issue within Ireland. It's one that we've never really got to grips with. Luckily, it can pass off peacefully in many areas, but in other areas, there are many reasons why it doesn't, and why people feel that parades shouldn't go through particular areas. But the bottom line in all of this, Mr. Speaker, is whatever we come up with in these talks, we have a process for dealing with parades right now. I can't honestly see a very different process that will come out of any negotiation, because the process at the minute is that we have an independent commission who decides on these controversial parades. I think that's as good as you're going to get. We go to negotiations like we do in all negotiations with a will to try and solve things. I hope that everybody else does the same. But we need some sort of an independent arbiter to decide upon these issues. If people cannot decide upon them themselves through negotiation and through respect and through long, hard slog, then somebody's going to have to make the call, Mr. Speaker. Many times I won't like the call, and many times other people won't like the call either. We have to be prepared, as Mr. Atwood said, to live with those decisions. It doesn't mean we can't protest them, but it does mean we have to protest them in a peaceful and dignified and respectful way, and that goes for everybody. That goes for whatever the decision might be. People talked about the PSNI. The last 18 months, 2 years, we've put members of the PSNI in the firing line from people from all different parts and sections of our community. That's not good enough. We've all signed up to the justice system, to the policing system, and to the rule of law, and thankfully we have. And I think we need to do everything we can do to protect those PSNI officers who we put in harm's way, but also to protect the communities who have to suffer this year in, year out. Derry was mentioned, and I'm not going to stand here and lecture anybody, because Derry isn't Ardoyne, it's not Portadown, and it's not a whole lot of other places. But the principle that underpins what's happened in Derry, and you know it very well, Mr. Speaker, is a principle of constant conversation, where people will get round the table when difficult issues are on the horizon, and people will talk things through. That's not always easy. We don't always come to it.
Yeah. And as you're quite right, I don't know the situation in Londonderry, but very clearly in Londonderry, both sides were willing to reach an accommodation and show tolerance and respect. Can I ask the member, because given what I was faced with when other unionist representatives when I went into the Parades Commission, if you're confronted with a situation where it's said there is absolute rejection of a parade from all nationalist parties, including your own, what exactly do people who want the parade do in that context?
We see sometimes we're all very good, Mr. Speaker, at talking about our rights, but with rights come responsibilities. And sometimes you have to step back and say, I just don't want to exercise that right today, because I think it's going to cause mayhem on the streets of Belfast, or in the streets of Portadown, or in the streets of Derry, or in the streets of somewhere else. So we all have responsibilities to ensure that everything that we do is in a respectful way, and that understands that we have to appreciate everybody else's opinion. And I would encourage everybody in North Belfast and everybody in Portadown to get round the table and to try and resolve these issues. And my party won't be wanting when it comes to that, and never have been before. It was talked about. Somebody on the other side of the chamber said that we were scared to face dissidents down. Well, I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, we are not afraid to face dissidents down. We face them down every single day. I just hope that the same spirit of facing down the dissidents within our community and those people who are determined to cause mayhem on the streets of Belfast or anywhere else, that same spirit of facing them down is carried through from people across the chamber.
Jim Allister.